We tend to think that the most dangerous people are the intelligent the ones who learn faster, understand deeper, react quicker. They seem to have an advantage in every game. But if you observe long enough, you start to notice something else. Intelligence is only a tool. It may help you start faster, but it does not determine how far you go. The real gap is not created by IQ, but by how a person thinks, acts, and sustains themselves over time. And there are certain types of people who, when they combine the right traits, become dangerous in a very different way. Not loud, not flashy, but almost impossible to defeat in the long run. In this video, let's explore with Level Up 365 the 7 types of people who are truly dangerous. 1. The strategic thinker. They don't react to the present, they design the future. While most people are busy solving immediate problems, they are quietly building a system that may only reveal its power years later. What makes them different is not that they are smarter, but that they are playing a different game. They don't ask, "How do I win today?" They ask, "How do I redefine the game over the next few years?" Their vision is not fantasy. It is a combination of observation, modeling, and patience. They notice weak signals that others ignore. They are willing to move slower now to create a massive advantage later. And when the moment comes, they don't need to run faster. They are already standing at the finish line. What makes them dangerous is that you cannot compete with them in the short term. You may not even realize you are in the same race until the gap is already too large. 2. The psychological operator. Not in a purely negative sense, but in the ability to read and influence people at a deep level. They understand that the world does not run on logic alone, but on emotion, belief, and perception. And they learn how to work with those forces. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know how to ask questions that make others rethink their own beliefs. They know how to craft a story convincing enough that others feel it is their own choice. The real power is not that they control people, but that they shape the environment around them. They don't just play within a system, they adjust the system in their favor. If you don't recognize how they operate, everything may seem natural, but in reality, you are following a path that has already been designed. 3. The unbreakable persistent. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. They think success comes from explosive moments, but these individuals understand that great outcomes are built from small actions repeated consistently over time. They don't rely on motivation, they build systems. When others stop because they are tired, they slow down, but they don't stop. When others feel lost, they return to the fundamentals and continue. What makes them dangerous is that they don't need to beat you today, they only need to keep going. Over time, the gap will form naturally. Their persistence is quiet. It does not need validation, but it is almost impossible to compete against. 4. The continuous learner. They do not attach themselves to a fixed version of who they are. They constantly update, adjust, and restructure how they understand the world. This keeps them from ever truly falling behind. They read, observe, experiment, but more importantly, they connect knowledge. They don't learn just to know, they learn to use. Every new piece of information is integrated into a larger system, allowing them to see patterns others cannot. What makes them dangerous is the speed of their evolution. While you are trying to catch up to who they are today, they have already become someone else. You are not just competing with their current self, you are competing with their trajectory. 5. The sharp intuitive. There are decisions that cannot wait for complete data. There are moments when overanalyzing means losing the opportunity. These individuals can make fast decisions, and often the right ones. But their intuition is not vague instinct. It is the result of thousands of hours of experience, accumulation, and pattern recognition. Their brain learns to process information at a deeper level, beyond conscious thought. They look at a situation and feel that something is off, or they recognize an opportunity others miss, and they act before everything becomes obvious. What makes them unpredictable is that you cannot easily trace how they decide. While you are still analyzing, they are already one step ahead. 6. The silent inspirer. They don't need to persuade. They don't need to impress. They simply live by their standards, and that alone creates influence. You observe how they work, how they handle difficulty, how they keep their word, and you begin to feel the need to change. No one forces you, there is no lecture, but their presence is enough. This is the deepest form of influence because it does not rely on authority or pressure, but on consistency. And once that trust is formed, it is very difficult to break. These individuals can shift an entire group simply by maintaining their own standard. 7. The emotional master. This may be the most important trait of all, because every strategy, every plan, every ability can collapse if you cannot control your internal state. These people are not emotionless. They feel deeply, but they are not controlled by those emotions. They create space between feeling and action. When pressure rises, they don't panic. When failure happens, they don't fall apart. When success comes, they don't lose control. They remain stable in moments when others fluctuate. This allows them to make better decisions more consistently and more reliably over time. In a world full of uncertainty, the ability to stay grounded may be the greatest advantage you can have. Looking back, you will see a common pattern among these 7 types. They do not rely on a single factor. They build a system. They think long-term. They understand people. They act consistently. They learn continuously. They decide quickly when needed. They influence through action, and they control themselves. This is not innate talent. It is a way of living. And here is the most important part. You don't need to become all 7 types at once. But if you begin to build each element step by step over time, you will realize that you are no longer playing the same game as most people. You don't need to win fast. You just need to not stop. Because in the long game, the most dangerous person is not the most intelligent one. When you hear this for the first time, it may still feel fragmented. But if you come back a second time, a third time, you will start to see the pieces connect. And then, in a moment of clarity, you will begin to see your own path to success. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to save it and subscribe to Level Up 365, not to watch more, but to understand deeper as you continue your journey of self-development every day.